A cruiserweight is the best heavyweight in boxing. Oleksandr Usyk just proved he is the best heavyweight in the game right now with his beautiful late round performance over Tyson Fury, who many argued was the best and most skilled heavyweight before this. And this isn't a DraftKings spot, but I'm still pissed this bet didn't hit, even though I basically called it and Usyk should have had that finish in the 9th, but whatever, on to the next. Anyways, with this career-defining performance over a guy like Tyson Fury, Usyk has cemented himself as the undisputed heavyweight champion, a feat we haven't seen since 1999 when Lennox Lewis did it after defeating Evander Holyfield. And with Usyk unifying everything at heavyweight and having cleared out cruiserweight, he not only proved he's the best heavyweight in the world, but in my opinion, he has the best case for being #1 pound for pound in today's era of boxing. And yes, a better case than Inoue and a better case than Terence Crawford. So of course today's question is, how does a guy that small dominate a division literally full of giants? Heavyweights have literally never been bigger.
In the golden age of heavyweight boxing, most top heavyweights were about 6 foot to 6'3" and just a tad bit over 200 pounds at 210 or 220.
But jump to 40 years later, most of the top heavyweights today easily clear 6'5" and can get up to 260. With so much size in the division, it's funny how a relatively undersized Oleksandr Usyk at 6'3", 223 at his heaviest, has dominated a division with skill, style, and fight IQ. At heavyweight, Oleksandr Usyk on average has given up about 2.3 inches or 2 inches if you have Tyson Fury at 6'7" like I do, but most importantly, Usyk also gives up a whopping 26.425 pounds on average when he fights heavyweights. So again, how the hell does Usyk damn near give up 30 pounds on average and still skillfully dominate the best heavyweight boxers in the world? So in today's video, let's look at the tools of Oleksandr Usyk and also the state of the current heavyweight boxing division to truly uncover how someone that small can dominate the literal biggest division in boxing. Some unfamiliar with boxing or combat sports in general on social media were wondering how this fight with Tyson Fury was even allowed. Oleksandr Usyk was 39 pounds lighter than Tyson Fury, and a couple weeks ago, boxing fans were heated over 3 pounds. Now granted, a 3-pound difference in a much lighter weight class is significantly more impactful than a 3-pound difference at heavyweight, but considering Oleksandr Usyk was giving up almost 40 pounds to a guy as skilled as Tyson Fury is still insane. But the reason there's no weight limit at heavyweight and a weight difference like this at heavyweight is deemed fair is because there is a point of diminishing returns when it comes to weight in fighting, and we saw that last Saturday. Obviously, being bigger, especially 30 to 40 pounds bigger, is a pretty big advantage, being that on paper, you should be able to hit much harder. Again, this is just on paper, as we saw in a video of mine on punching power, or really force, is an equation of mass and acceleration, so someone bigger could be outpunched by someone lighter, but can accelerate their punches faster. The point being, usually bigger equals harder hitter. Being bigger also usually means being able to take a punch better, and what Tyson Fury loves to do with his size and strength is to be better in the clinch, being able to lay 40-ish pounds more on his opponents, which is absolutely draining. But these advantages of course come with a cost.
Stamina.
Being that big means you have to carry all that weight over all 12 rounds, and oftentimes this is where Usyk gets you. You may see being 30 pounds lighter in a division of giants and hard hitters as a disadvantage, but to Usyk, him being 220 pounds might actually be one of his biggest advantages. Usyk's ability to carry his activity, volume, and precision in the later rounds is unprecedented in this division. I think the best display of this came in the first fight with Anthony Joshua. Joshua's 240-pound muscle-bound body completely gassed in the later rounds, which led to an amazing rally by Usyk in the 12th and final round that looked like if it had gone a couple seconds longer, AJ would have been finished. We also saw this again in their rematch where Usyk turned up his volume and activity to another level in the 10th, and I mean, look at these numbers. In the 10th, he attempted a fight-high 95 punches and continued to attempt 80 and 57 in the last rounds of a heavyweight matchup, mind you. We of course saw this ability to rally in the later rounds in the Tyson Fury fight when Usyk turned it up to another level in the 9th and rallied big and dropped and almost finished Tyson Fury. And from then on, it was target practice for Usyk while Tyson was struggling to move his 260 Eggman type body. And in Usyk's last fight before this against Daniel Dubois, Dubois met a similar fate as he fell to an accumulation of punches by Oleksandr Usyk in the 8th round and finally got finished in the 9th round when again Usyk turned up that volume in the latter half of this fight, which is something a guy 240, 250, and definitely not 260 will never be able to do. Finally, I know Chaz Witherspoon is far from the cream of the crop, but it's just funny that in his fight with Usyk, relative to everyone else, he wasn't even that beat up by Usyk when he decided to quit after the 7th. He really was just gassed. I mean, look at the boy. If Usyk really wanted to, he could easily get up to 230, 240, but I doubt he ever will. His biggest advantage in this division is ironically his small size and his ability to carry his activity and volume in the later rounds, which is just one way he dominates this division. Another way Oleksandr Usyk dominates this division is his style, which is a style unlike any other in the division. Oleksandr Usyk and Lomachenko employ their patented matrix style, which is a style that relies on timing, footwork, and tempo and allows guys with smaller reaches and guys who are smaller in general to dominate. Lomachenko is 5'7", which is about average height for the lightweight division, but only has a 64-inch reach, which is very short for his height. For reference, a normal reach is about the same as one's height, and so for Lomachenko to give up 3 inches in reach is a major disadvantage on paper. Oleksandr Usyk doesn't necessarily have that short of a reach for his height. It's actually slightly longer, with him being 6'3" and his reach being 78 inches or 6'6", but considering he fights giants like in the case of Tyson Fury, who has a 85-inch reach, he's giving up a lot in reach at heavyweight. But whatever physical disadvantage these guys have gets nullified when their style is employed. Let's of course look at the way Oleksandr Usyk gets past a longer man's reach. Fundamentally, the longer man's jab is that man's best weapon. That long lead arm on paper should be keeping the shorter man at bay while also keeping his man in his punching range while keeping the shorter guy outside of his punching range. This type of advantage often means the longer man is going to pop that jab out, though of course, a guy like Oleksandr Usyk takes advantage of this game plan and this perceived advantage from the longer fighter. A good example of this was in the end of the 9th round. In his first fight with Anthony Joshua, Joshua lazily threw out his jab and kind of leaves it out there, not expecting Usyk to cover the distance. However, Usyk gets past this distance by slipping to the inside and winning the foot battle in the open stance by stepping on the outside of Joshua's foot. With Usyk also being southpaw, he can slide on the same side of an orthodox fighter's jab and quickly close the distance and pop a jab of his own. Another great example was in the opening round of his second fight with Anthony Joshua, where he goes to the inside of Joshua's extended jab and comes with his own up jab, which has an added benefit of coming from a different angle, catching Joshua stiff. Of course, Usyk did this a lot in his Fury fight, nullifying the reach of the jab by slipping into the inside and using quick footwork to close the distance. But I think Usyk's best weapon and the tool he often uses to rock his longer opponents is his sweeping left hook over the top of extended hands. Taller, longer guys tend to not only pop a longer jab off, but they often tend to just extend their arms out, both their lead and rear hand sometimes, to keep shorter opponents at bay. But again, this is something Usyk takes advantage of. In the first couple of rounds of the Tyson Fury fight, this was the punch that landed big for Usyk and even got the attention of Fury early. Here was the first big one that landed, as Fury tried to keep Usyk at bay with that long extended lead hand. Usyk went under that arm to get around, used his footwork to get in, and sent his sweeping left hand over the top, rocking Fury and rolling his eyes back. We would see this again here in this early sequence as Usyk slipped Fury's extended jab to the inside, closed the distance with his footwork, and landed a jab and sweeping left of his own. This also landed big in his first fight with Anthony Joshua, as Joshua foolishly tried to extend his rear hand to keep Usyk at bay, maybe overestimating his reach advantage, as Usyk used that to go over the top with a big left hand and rocked AJ. I think these taller, longer heavyweights in general vastly overestimate their reach, which leads to them extending their arms out for far too long, and they also underestimate or maybe are not used to a heavyweight being able to close that distance so quickly, which leads to a guy like Oleksandr Usyk landing bombs over the top of extended arms. And finally, another reason why Oleksandr Usyk dominates this division is because this division was never particularly a skillful one to begin with. I caught a lot of flack with this video initially when I talked about this heavyweight generation being extremely overrated and way less skilled than we had initially thought, though that video is starting to age very well. In short, Anthony Joshua was mightily exposed by the far more superior Oleksandr Usyk, and it was only a matter of time he was going to do the same thing to the most quote-unquote skilled heavyweight boxer in Tyson Fury, who really only had his best performances and displays of skill against a guy who can't fundamentally box. Once a decorated and skilled boxer in Oleksandr Usyk came to take what was his and was given the opportunity to prove he was the best heavyweight in the world, this is where we saw the true skill difference between a guy like Usyk and Fury. So with a master like Usyk utilizing his style, speed, timing, and ability to turn up his activity in the later rounds due to his smaller stature in a division that was never that skilled to begin with, this is how Oleksandr Usyk dominates giants. Anyways, what do you guys think about Oleksandr Usyk? He is definitely the best heavyweight in the world, but is he the pound for pound best? In my opinion, he is. I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on how Oleksandr Usyk dominates giants and also if he's the best in the world. Again, thank you guys for watching. Peace.